our guest tonight is this fellow right here, Jackson Becker. All right, Jackson, let me do this. All right, so it's just me and you now. So, for those that don't know Jackson, his story is absolutely inspiring. It's truly incredible. He's great at, he's a hard worker. He does the right thing. He genuinely cares about people, and he's just really persistent. And most people probably would have quit if they were in Jackson's shoes, but he kept going. And that is a testament to his faith, his tenacity, and how and the leader that he is. His team is growing right now. It's about to really explode. I could see it 30,000 feet up. I could look down and see what's happening. And I'm just really excited for you guys to hear Jackson and get to know him and get to know his story. So, Jackson, thanks for jumping on. We appreciate you.
Thank you, Trey. I appreciate it, man. It's quite the intro, dude. You're making me gotta stretch, man. You're making me nervous, dude. Come on.
Dude, I'm making myself nervous. That was such a good intro. We better actually do really good. Um, so where are you from, Jackson?
I'm from Poplar Bluff, Missouri,
All
Southeast
right.
Missouri. Y'all don't know where that is. It's Southeast Missouri. Yeah, down there in the Boot Heel of Missouri. If anybody else in FFL, especially in this call, works in Missouri, let me know. Because as far as I'm concerned, I'm like one of the only ones.
Dude, you might be.
It's
You guys
crazy.
might be.
It's an untapped market.
All right. What date is in
Dana
Missouri?
Page is in Missouri. Good deal.
All right. There was one other. Look at that. Out of 103 people, we got two. That's good. It's better
Yeah.
than you thought it was going to
She's
be.
on the complete other side of the state, but she's in Missouri. So that's
Yes. So Jackson, tell us a little bit about yourself and how you got started with FFL, and then we'll go from there.
yeah. I am 25, just turned 25, married, kid, 1.5-year-old boy. He's a tyrant. He doesn't sleep. We got our baby girl's on the way in April. So very busy life, very, very busy life. I was serving tables and I got on Indeed. I was working a lunch shift and I had made like $15 after like 2.5 hours of work. I was like, yeah, this sucks. So I got to figure something out. I got on Indeed, got somebody that was recruiting for life insurance and decided to hop on, see what it was about. I thought it was a scam at first. Because it was like make as much as you want, work whenever you want, you're your own boss, like a whole bunch of different things. So I just didn't really I don't know. I figured I'd give it a shot, and I was very timid at first, but that first commission check hit, and I was like, "Oh wow, this is kind of nice." This is more than I've ever made in a week, and on one phone call. So, yeah,
Yes.
that was in September 2023. So we've been going since
Okay.
then.
Well, dude, good work. I laughed because you called your son a tyrant. I thought that was a funny term for a,
He's now, bro. He's awesome. He just doesn't sleep, man,
but
which
they
means
don't
that I
sleep.
don't
Yeah.
sleep.
Dude, I totally get that.
Yeah.
Totally get that. Well, good for you. All right. So not even 2 years. Well, a little over 2 years now.
Mhm.
Um, what'd you go to college for?
Baseball. I didn't, if it wasn't for baseball, I wouldn't have been going to college, but I got my associates in business. It was a JUCO program. It was a fairly new program.
Tell people
So
where
I
it
went
is because
there.
it's going to go over
Virginia
well on
Beach.
this call. Look at
Virginia
that.
Beach. Yeah.
Look at that.
Virginia Beach
Yes.
holds a beautiful spot in my heart. I love Virginia Beach. I met my wife there. She went to the
Nice.
same school, so I love Virginia Beach. I need to make it out to that office and see all those guys because I love Virginia Beach. So next time I'm in the area, I'm stopping by 100%.
Well, they would love that. I know that's the truth. So tell us about the beginning. Was it easy for you starting out? Was it hard for you? Just business wise. And I know I didn't prep you for this, but you know, you had something happen. And I think and you don't have to go too far into it if you don't want to, but I think it's important for people to understand just perspective wise. Because Jackson will beat himself up, but he'll be like, hey, like I should be further along. And I don't think you should do that because he's right where he should be. He's doing great. But tell us how you started out, Jackson. How did it go in the beginning?
Yeah. Yeah, that's definitely a trap to because you start comparing yourself to other people. there's always somebody at the top, unless you're Steve Giordano, there's somebody always above you. So if you're always comparing yourself, you feel slow, you feel like you can easily beat yourself up. That's just a trap. But it was really slow, self-inflicted, because when I first started, me and my upline that hired me, Alex Pazos, we just worked alone, like on Zoom, like me and him on Zoom every single day. We were figuring it out. He was figuring it out. I was figuring it out. Um, and we just kind of struggled through it. But it's really cheap to live in Missouri, so it's like I would make decent money. And I think I was pretty complacent at first because I could pay my family's bills. I could do what I needed to. But my back got up against the wall because my wife, she was pregnant, and she was like, "Hey, I'm quitting my job. Like my feet hurt. I hate being on my feet. I hate my job. Like I'm quitting. You gotta, pick it up." And I was like, "Okay, let's do it." And I like doubled my sales that next month because I had to, like there was a lot riding on it because I have a family that I have to provide for. But if you whenever I look at my numbers, I see a lot of inconsistency. And yeah, I did go through a lot of life stuff. Had my kid. My kid was born with a heart defect. He went under open heart surgery. That was gruesome and really, tough to go through. But what a blessing to have a job like this where I could be there for my wife. I could be there for my son. Nobody was telling me that my job was on the line. Nobody was, forcing me to come to work, forcing me to show up to Zoom meetings. Like Trey was texting me like, "Hey dude, like what's going on? You just dropped off the face of the earth." And I'm like, I got some things I got to handle, and um so as far as starting out, really, really slow, extremely slow. Um, but I wouldn't have it any other way, man. I learned a ton. And from start to now, man, I've just grown so much. Not even just business, obviously, like financially, that's great. But like, dude, as a person, like if you don't get in this business for money, that's what most people get into this is to change your life. But dude, it's like this has changed my entire, I feel like personality in a really good way. It's just made me a better person, which is awesome.
I love it. A lot of us felt like we grew up at FFL. I mean, I started when I was in my 30s, but I, you know, I was immature in my 30s. So I feel
Yeah.
like I grew up here. A lot of the best lessons I ever learned was from the people in this group. And so, and watching you do that production wise now, what'd you do in January, February? You're doing pretty good this month too. Where you at so far? We called this
Yeah,
Hall of Fame run, so no pressure.
yeah, 45K in January. I'm at 28 in February, like IP. So probably somewhere over 30K, I would assume. I'm trying to it's tough. Like you got to balance building because we just got an office space. It's kind of a wreck. Like we don't have to gut it or do anything crazy. We got to paint. We got to, get desks and, I'm trying to balance selling, recruiting, getting the office together. I'm trying to, you're just figuring it out as you go. But one thing that I did not start soon enough was recruiting. I guess I thought that I had to have it figured out. I had to have it together. And it's funny because like that's just such a lie. If you just show people what opportunity is available, I mean, I don't know about where y'all live, but in my like, especially just in my small little town in Southeast Missouri, nobody knows about this. And they're gonna know. Like I think you said today on the builders call, Trey, like talk to people about FFL. Just show someone about FFL. You don't even have to
Yeah.
like you could sit there and if you just talk to everybody you know about FFL and you didn't even train them, you just plugged them into the system, you could probably build a big business, which is crazy. It's a lot more complex than that, but that's in a nutshell what it is here, which is awesome.
Well, not to catch you too much off guard with this, but like, let me tell you something. Like, if we weren't on the call with all these people, this is exactly what I would say. Trying to balance it all, you don't balance it all. You just make a big mess. Like,
Yeah.
if I look back at the way I really screwed up at different times, because I've gone through a bunch of ups and downs, and I've screwed it up more times than not. It's because I'm trying to get my finger on the pulse and to get control over it. Momentum is uncontrollable. You need it to be messy. Trying to slow it down and get a feel
Woo.
for it all will mess you up. You just need it to be chaotic, crazy, messy, things falling through the cracks, not being able to help all the clients, not being able to help all the agents, stay like that for like 6 months. And what'll happen is it'll move away from you.
Dang.
Um, that's a trick. So uh kind of how it goes. So good job. Um, you're recruiting now, which is great. You're selling
Yep.
now. What are three things do you think transitioning from not selling a lot to selling a lot? What were the three things you changed? Something happened along the way. And what was it?
Yeah, I was like married to ethos leads from the beginning. Like I could sell. I think that's a huge reason why I was so inconsistent. But I was married to ethos leads. I think that they can convert. You can sell insurance on ethos leads, but they're not consistent. And there's fully underwritten business, mostly a lot of Transamerica term, like a lot of stuff like that. So it doesn't pay you very fast. So it's very hard to build a business when you're waiting 2 months to get paid on something. So that was a huge switch. I switched to vet leads. That wasn't easy, completely switching an entire lead flow. Had to relearn how to talk to the lead, relearn how to sell the lead. This is a whole different product. I know how to write the application. I know how to write insurance, but it's a different client and it's a different product and it's a different sale. It's a different script, all in all. So that was huge. So switching over to vet leads, I love vet leads. I think that that is a solid places for anybody to start is aged vet leads. So I started on aged vet leads, worked my way up. I do premium vets now, about 40 to 50 premium vets a week right now, consistently. It has to be consistent. I don't care if you're buying, if you're starting out, if you have 500 bucks a week, like, look, it's a business. You got to spend money. I hate to break it to you, but you have to buy leads. Otherwise, you're going to sit there and talk to all of your friends and family and convince them to buy life insurance, and that's just not fun. That's not a business. You should, and it helps you get started, but you have to invest into your business. But I don't care if you're spending 500 bucks a week or 2,500 bucks a week, be consistent and build it up as quick as you can because if the second you start at 500 bucks a week and you start getting a little bit of cash flow there, take it to 1,000, take it to 1,250, take it to 16, take it to 2,000. Like the more leads you have, the more you write. So I'd say that that was a big stark change was lead type, lead consistency, and then just getting strict on my schedule, man. It was very hard for me. I was working from home. Like I said, had a baby, health conditions, not really like a normal, situation. Like he came home with a feeding tube. We had to manage that. He was on a lot of medications. So it's not just like I could say, my wife is a stay-at-home mom and she's a freaking killer at it, but I can't just like that's a different situation. You need help there. So once I got my schedule down, I got her involved because I mean, we are one, we have to work our schedule out so that I can provide for the family. So once I got our schedule down, that really changed. And then when things exploded is when I got my own office. I started in like a shared office space, but just to separate work from home was like stark difference, huge difference. And I think I mean, you have to be disciplined to work from home because there's a lot of distractions. And it's just more of like for me personally, it was a mentality thing. Like I would go to work upstairs in my office, and then there was no separation between work and home. But now it's like I'm at an office and I get to come home and it's like leave all of that in the office and just be with my wife and my son. And that is huge. It's for my relationship, for my business, for my, me being a father. Like it's a huge difference. So you can work from home, and many people make thousands and thousands of dollars working from home. But I think it's a huge benefit, at least for me, working in an office space.
Amen to that, dude. It's always the hardest part about this whole thing is being self-employed. I mean, it's hard to employ yourself. And one of the philosophies and mentalities that you have to embrace early on is like, if you have to be willing to change your environment.
Hmm.
You have to be willing to take charge of the things that you can actually take charge of. And I think everybody goes through that where, um, I remember Sean Mike talking about in the early days, when it was just him at his house. Like he would get up, he'd shower, he'd get ready, and he'd go dial at the park in his car, just to have that separation. Because where people face a lot of hardship in this business is when they're at work, they're thinking about spending time with their family. And when they're with their family, they're thinking about work
Mm.
because they didn't do enough at work, you know? But if you just find a place to go, stick to a schedule, hold yourself accountable to it, and make that the priority, then it allows you to be present wherever you are. And
Hmm.
it's a common theme, and it's something everybody's going to have to overcome.
Can I point that out
And
though? Like you said, Sean Mike used to, when he was starting, used to dial in his car at the park.
at the
Like,
park, yeah,
I think it's so easy to look at Sean Mike and think, oh, like, you know, it's just easy to look, okay, he's made it, it's hard for me to. Like, yeah, it's not going to be easy, but like, dude, Sean started somewhere. Even to look at Trey, look at you. You've built something massive. And you started from the same point. You started from nothing. Like that's pretty inspirational. And for anybody that's on the call that deals with self-motivation, deals with, I mean, insecurities, whenever you first get licensed, I don't know if a lot of people talk about this, but you deal with like an imposter syndrome because you're calling these leads and you're like, yeah, I'm a veteran underwriter or I'm a senior field underwriter. I'm this, I'm a broker, but you don't know what you're doing. Like you don't feel, but like if you just keep your head and your mentality on what you're trying to build, dude, Trey started from the very bottom. Sean Mike started from the very bottom. Like that's pretty inspirational.
well, all of us at some point did not have an insurance license, and so we all had to make our first sale. And one of the things I remember Frank saying this early on. I used to listen before I was in FFL. I would listen to the FFL calls. That's how I learned to sell insurance. And I remember Frank on a call said, "Look, everybody's going to go through the same thing. You just might go through it in a different place, but in order to make it, we all fight the same battles, and and that's true. Like everybody goes through the same stuff. We all had that point where you know we didn't feel like we were capable of talking to the client about insurance because we didn't know enough. And we had to overcome that and say to ourselves, you know what, we're the ones with the insurance license. They don't have an insurance license. We're the expert, you know. Um, Everybody gets their first chargeback. Everybody has their first agent that they think is going to kill it that never does anything. Everybody has the guy that doesn't do nothing but eventually comes around and turns into somebody good in the business. You know, everybody goes through the same stuff. And so it really is just about keeping a good attitude, keeping the activity high, and doing that for a long enough period of time for it to work out. And one of the things Andrew Taylor taught me early on is he said, um, the hardest thing in the business is the first year, and you got to get to the point where you can pass the monkey. And what that was there was a very specific term that he would use, and he would say, "That's when you know that all you have to do to be successful is just have more leads." Like
Hmm.
that's the ultimate tipping point in the business where you realize, okay, all I need to do is buy more leads because I know this works. When was that for you? I feel like and we glazed over your situation, but your son had more than one heart surgery. It was a lot to deal with as a young parent, as a parent any age. I marvel at how well you handled all of it. And how's he doing now, by the way?
Dude, like it never happened. It's God's awesome. It's a blessing.
Yeah.
Like it never
Well, I
happened.
remember you were FaceTiming when we were in Vegas, and he you pointed out his chest. He doesn't even have a scar hardly, like it's healed so well, which
Really,
is
really
wild.
light. Yeah. And he'll need another one they said when he's about 10, 15 years old. What they put in his heart, he'll outgrow at a certain point. But there's a lot of reasons why it went wrong the first, open heart surgery. And he, you know, it's not expected to have as many hiccups as we did the first open heart surgery. So, it's easy to get anxious or nervous about what the next 10 years are going to take, and like what that surgery looks like. But no, God's in control at the end of the day, and he's doing really good. But what that looked like for me, what was that question? Lead?
With the pass of the monkey, when you get to the point where you
Yeah,
realize
yeah,
all I
yeah.
have to do is just
It
get more
was it was
leads.
at the hospital, man, because I didn't have anything else to do. And I was like, okay, This is so stupid. Oh, what is it? It was 2025. No, it was 2024. Dude, I don't know what freaking year it is. They were all running together. But it was at a point where I was able to look back on my finances and always keep your business and your personal separate. Um, if you're new, that's a necessity if nobody's told you that yet. But I looked at my like 5 or 6 month, last 5 or 6 months of ROI, my lead spend, and my deposits. And it's so funny. I think I didn't do that for so long because I was afraid to know. I was afraid like my ego was going to see that I wasn't making as much money as I thought I was making, net profit. And that, that can be pretty scary if you're letting your ego run. You don't even know what your numbers look like. Like, come on, dude. So I didn't have nothing better to do. Obviously I need to figure finances out. Like I'm not working, we're in the hospital, we're figuring stuff out. And I remember telling my wife, like I had it written down. I was like, honey, the months that I cracked like these major milestones, I spent more in leads. Like, why am I just now realizing that? I should have realized that like 6 months ago. And it's not that I was never told that. Everybody told me that. But it's weird, man. I would not implement it. And I was very hit or miss with my leads. Like it's like you always want to get the most bang for your buck out of your leads. And I understand
Mhm.
that, but you have to have new people to call every single week, every single day. If you can do that, like that's where the sweet spot is in this business. Because if you're always trying to like eke out every little sale out of your leads, you can do that. And you will find leads or you will find sales in those older leads. But it's more of, I feel like it's just more of a waste of time. How about you take all of those old leads that you've bought that have just sitting there and you feel like you haven't called through them, give them to your fresh recruit, give them to your downline, like have them call through them, see what they can find out of it. Like they're very recyclable. There's people in this business. There's like y'all have heard of the vault, like people like agencies have like a giant CRM with a whole bunch of logins. There's like 80,000 leads in the CRM. They're just calling them every day because they need someone to call. And they work. People sell them. It doesn't matter. Like people are always going to need life insurance, whether they filled it out 2 years ago or 2 days ago. Like people need life insurance. But whenever I
Mhm.
realized that, it was just funny because like it's like I'm kind of hitting myself in the head like dude I should have done this a long time ago but I've learned like it is what it is. Move forward from that point on. When I got back in the saddle December of 2025, I had a consistent lead flow, and from there, dude, I just really realized that with consistent lead flow, consistent work, like activity level, this business is proven. Like it literally works 100% of the time if you follow the systems. Like nothing I tell you is going to be something that I came up with myself. Like I'm not special and I'm not smart. I'm just following everybody else and doing what they did because it worked for them. Like, I remember whenever I first started, I was watching like podcasts like this or like meetings or Zoom calls, and I was like looking at them because I desperately want to make it work for myself. I desperately want to build this business. I desperately want to learn how to sell insurance. I'm just like, I'm literally desperate for it. Like, somebody give me some information. And they're all saying the same things. And I'm just looking at them like, dude, like, I know for a fact if those bozos can do it, if those bozos can make
Mm.
thousands of dollars a month, I can do it. And it's not to like talk crap on the people that were on the call. It's just like, dude, I didn't look at them like, oh, they have it figured out. That could never be me. I was like, I'm a bozo too. Like how can I figure this stuff out? And I think it was that determination that has kept me through even the hardest months of my entire life. I picked a terrible time to get into building a business because it's just like my life has been, upside down and just like side to side. But um, I mean, you really can't go wrong. You can have consistent lead flow, consistent structure as with your activity level and just keep your thoughts at bay. Like think
Mm.
think later. John Wetmore says, "Do more now, get better later." Just do it.
Yeah,
Just do it now. Worry about getting better later. Just do activity right here, right now, and you'll see success.
yeah. You cannot work the numbers cannot work you.
Mm-hmm.
I, how much did you issue last year personally?
260,
Okay. And
260,000.
so this year, 45, then 28 through 3 weeks, so definitely over 30 in February. How's March going?
It'll be, don't worry about it right now, Trey. Worry about it at the end of the month. Worry about it at the end of the month. It don't matter. No, it's
That's right.
slower than like, what starts have been. But I mean, like, come on, I've been moving into an office. Like I'm trying to be, a little easy on myself.
Yep.
So yeah, no, I'm numbers are definitely already ahead of the a curve when it comes to like, on pace for Hall of Fame. But dude, it's like as bad as I want to hit that goal, and me and you have had communication about like what my goals need to be. I kind of set my goal kind of low for agency numbers, for personal production numbers. As much as I do want to hit all of my goals, I just want to grow. I'm not gonna worry about if I said I'm 1,000,000% gonna hit this goal, and then if I don't hit the goal, everyone's gonna think I don't have it together. Dude, I don't even care. If I'm growing, I'm paying my family's bills, I'm providing for them. I'm building a business, in my hometown. Like I think that's really exciting. I'm really excited. The two people I have that are building it with me are super excited. They're super involved. And, I mean, I just think I think that if I get too worried about hitting the numbers, I'm going to get really psyched out. But so I'm just worried about forward production, just working on growth, and that's it. And I think at the end of, the year and the end of next, 5 years, I'm going to be able to look back and think that I was proud of myself for how I did it.
Dude, I love that. I know last year something that was really impactful for you. We did so many lock-ins, and you were able to come to a couple of those. Tell us about that and the impact that made. By the way, we have one coming up in Chicago on the 18th and 19th of March. If anybody wants to know details on that, reach out. Um, and so we'll tell you where to go. But you can go to fflmeetup.com, fflmeetup.com, and that's where we're going to post all the upcoming lock-ins. The only one we got scheduled right now is the Chicago one, and that's a success zone lock-in. So you're more than welcome to show up to that if you guys are in that area. But how are the lock-ins? How did that help in your
Dude,
process of getting better?
we work virtual sales, so it's very easy to be alone and well, I don't want to unmute until I know what I'm saying. I don't want to unmute. Everyone's on a Zoom call. If you're not dialing on a Zoom meeting, at least hearing people, other people that write crazy insurance, if you're not listening to them, dude, find one. Talk to me, talk to Trey, plug into a live dial. But it's so easy to mute yourself and never come off mute. Huge problem for me whenever I first started is I didn't want people to hear me because I was too self-conscious about the way I would handle the call. Like, dude, get over yourself. You're not special. The people that are on the call aren't special. Like everyone's trying to make everybody grow. Everybody's wanting the best for everybody. Like leave your ego at the freaking door and just get better. And that's how you do it. So I love lock-ins because you can't mute yourself. And it's funny, I think the biggest thing for me at the first lock-in I went to is like I would be dialing and then, I'm bad about like scrolling Facebook or Instagram like while I'm dialing. Um, and so I remember like I was dialing and I went on a strand of like people not picking up. So whatever notification gets me, I start scrolling. And then like 1 minute in, I'm like, oh shit, people are looking at me. Like I feel like people, because there's nothing you can hide. You can't mute yourself. You can't
Right.
you're very vulnerable in that setting. And not only that, I sat right next to Heather Robeson, who is a freaking killer, writing like 60, 70K months. I think she had like she it was that month that she had like a blowout month. And I'm just
Yep.
like, dude, hearing her changed my entire perspective just because the way she was talking to clients. And I remember there was this she just kind of shit on me because I was like uh talking about this annuity possibility for a client, and he was 85, pretty healthy, but didn't want to pay $300 a month for a $5,000 policy, those. And it's like you almost are like, dude, you're right. It doesn't make sense to if you're pretty healthy, if you live till you're 95, like you're gonna pay like $20,000 in premiums for a $5,000 policy. Sometimes it doesn't make sense. So Heather's like, do an annuity where they just pay a monthly premium, 250 a month, and it builds growth, it builds um an interest. Like that's what you should do. And I was like, I think I said like, what do I get paid on that? Or, is the comp even worth it? And she said, so, like, why are you worried about? She's like, I don't ever worry about how much I'm going to get paid. I just put the client in a good position. I was like, dude, I know, like, you're right. I'm sorry. She's like, no, you're fine. But like that was such a big training point for me because, it's so easy to look at a client or a lead or somebody you're talking to as like you need them to close because you need to get paid. But if that's your motive, if that's your MO, you need to really start to tweak that. And that is what I started to do. Instead of seeing if I could get them into an application, see if I could, sell them a policy, I would discover a need. And the first like 5 minutes of the phone call, if I can't get a solidified why on why they need the coverage, I'm not even going to even bother getting into an application 25 minutes down the phone call and they say, "Yeah, I'm not really interested." Because they don't even need coverage. So like if they're like, "Yeah, I have $100,000. I just wanted to see if I could get some extra." Okay, that makes sense. Well, let's look into a couple of things. But if you didn't have this coverage, what would that mean for your family? Nothing. Okay. It's like if they don't need the coverage, they're probably not going to buy the coverage. To be honest, you can run through rates, you can go through what they might be paying, and they might even bite if they feel like it's worth it. But dude, look at the client as like, how can I help this person? As if it's a person like in your family. And if you start putting their situation first and their needs first, you're going to get paid. Your agents are going to get paid if that's the culture you build in your agency, and your retention is going to be stupid high. That's why Heather's is like 99%. It's because she doesn't care. She puts them in the best position. She doesn't oversell them. She does that. Exactly.
Yeah. Well, it's the process of loving the one you're with. It's that that it's so interesting because as long as we've done this and different ways we get to the people and the different lead types and in home, not in home, Zoom sales, this lead type, this was Facebook, now they do IUL, it doesn't really matter. Like now the leads call you, the conversation's always the same. And some of the pitfalls are, they're always going to be the pitfalls. But if you slow down and just try to take care of the one that you're with, it can only go good for you. I mean, it can't get any worse. They already haven't bought it. And
Yeah.
that's the best part, I think. So new agents, I mean, one of the things about these calls is there's so many different types of people. There's people that just started, never wrote an application. There's people that are in class. There's people that are about getting ready to quit. They don't know if they can take it anymore. you know, there there's people that are just like, they get on the call to check the box because they get on all the calls and they're not really expecting to really get anything out of it sometimes. And I mean,
Yeah.
there's different walks of life, different phases. What are some what are some things you have for the brand new person? Like just got their license, just starting out. What do they need to be thinking and what do they need to not be thinking? I think is a good question.
I think you need to get serious on why you're even doing this because you can make money anywhere. You can't make money like you can make money in life insurance, but you can make money anywhere. A lot of people get into this business because it's such a phenomenal opportunity. Everyone gets into this business because it's such a phenomenal opportunity. You see all these people making crazy money. The money is real, but there's a reason why not everybody does it is because not everyone's built like that. Not everyone's ready to invest in themselves. Not everyone's ready to wake up at 7 in the morning, 6 in the morning, 5 in the morning to get a workout in. Like, and I can go on and on about that, but like at the end of the day, I don't work for anybody. I am a life insurance broker. How can I take my business to the next level? Like I have to continually be thinking that. I don't work for somebody else. I don't go into a job and be told what to do. I can't be on autopilot. I always have to be the one flying the ship. And if you're just now starting, figure out why you're doing this. What's your why? You'll hear people say that time in and time out. Like, why are you even in this business? Um, of course, I want to make a lot of money. Okay, well, where the rubber meets the road is it's a lot of freaking hard work and it's a grind. And you have to go through times where you might not make a lot of money because it's a commission-based business. You might go through times where you don't feel like working, but you freaking have to because nobody's paying your bills. Like if you don't have a solid why on why you're even getting into this, um, I think there's no point in even getting into it, to be honest. Um, the second thing I would say is, man, your mind is so wired to find the bad in everything. So when I got into this, when Trey got into this, when Andrew Taylor got into this, when Sean Mike probably not. He's different. But when someone gets into this business, you think of all the ways it could crash and burn. You think of all the people that are going to laugh at you if you don't make it work. You think of all the ways that you can't succeed in this business. And I just want to challenge you on why do you think that way? Because I did it too. Like that, it's very normal and it's natural for our brains to be wired that way. But start to have a gatekeeper at the door of your thoughts because you'll realize every single thought that you have is just a bad thought. It's talking about why you don't feel like you could succeed, why you feel like this isn't for you. I deal with it still to this day as I'm trying to build an agency. You have to kick those thoughts to the curb because they will literally choke you out. So get really serious on why you're doing this. You can make money anywhere. Why do you want to be a life insurance producer? It doesn't sound very sexy, let's be honest. Like, I sell life insurance. Like, what do you do? No, you make a lot of money and you can change your life and you can change your family's life. So that's a solid why. And then two, get your thoughts in order. And like Sean always says, if you find yourself thinking, stop. There's a reason he says that. Sean just doesn't ramble. If you notice, like Sean talks a lot in his Friday calls, he's not just rambling. Every single one of his syllables has a meaning to it. And when he says that, find yourself thinking, you need to stop. It's true. Like he's been through it. So I would say those two things are like at the very core. You need to find a why. Why are you in this business? And control your thoughts because they'll kill you.
Amen. Dude, that's great advice. That's a great way to end it. Thank you, Jackson. This has
Yeah.
been a great call. Um, Congratulations on all your success. I know you're going to hit Hall of Fame. I know your agency is going to grow faster than what you expected to. And
Yeah.
I'm eager to get out there to Missouri. We're definitely doing it in June or July. Um,
Yeah. I don't know if any of y'all are baseball fans, but I want to do a St. Louis lock-in. We hammer 2 days of just ripping sales, ripping dials. And of course, like every lock-in at the end of the second day, you go and, have a dinner. I want to go to like a cards game. So if any of y'all are baseball fans,
yes.
let's make that happen. I'm going to get Trey out there. We can make it a success zone call. Everybody can get out there. I know Heather's going to be there.
Yeah.
And then afterwards we can like I'm gonna try and pull some strings. Maybe we can even get box seats. Who knows? Like we'll make it fun
That
and
would be something.
really have a good time. But yeah. So if any of y'all are interested in doing that, I think that'd be a blast.
All right. Well, I'm down. And we're going to get the
Yeah.
carriers to cover something. So
Yeah.
they definitely want to
Boom.
sponsor some things. So I know I know one carrier that's in Missouri. So
Dude,
they probably
yes.
help us out.
They might want us to go to Kansas City though, because the Royals, but I don't care. No, we got to go
Oh,
to Cards games. No, I'm not going to a Royals game. We got to go to a Cards game.
that's right. Amen. I like the Royals too, though. I can't hit on the Royals.
Me too.
I like
Nah,
them both. I just
they're
like
good.
baseball. I'm excited to go.
Cardinals is in my blood, man. We got to go to a Cards game.
Yeah, talk about that. You're serious though. Like, how's the Cardinals in your blood? This is a great way to end it. Just a fun fact about
Uh,
Jackson.
so my great great grandfather owned the Cardinals for a year, and his name is Edward C. Becker. His best friend was going bankrupt. He owned the Cardinals. His best friend owned the Cardinals. He was going bankrupt. So my great great grandfather was like, okay, I'll buy him. So he bought him. He was the owner whenever they had Cy Young. My family has like the only picture of Cy Young in a jersey, like in a team picture, like the original copy of Cy Young on a baseball team. It was when they were the Browns. So it was the St. Louis Browns. And then they switched for like less than a year, they switched to the Perfectos, the St. Louis Perfectos. And then somebody said, that's a lovely shade of cardinal red. So like they switched bam to the St. Louis Cardinals, and it's been that ever since. So like that's why, dude, we could go to a KC game, like that'd be cool, but no, I want to go to a Cardinals game. That's
Yeah.
that's what I want to do. But
Well, I'm glad they changed the name to the Cardinals instead of the Perfectos. That kind of sucks.
yeah, bro, I coached a summer baseball team called the Perfectos that was based on that. So it was
Oh,
me and my
nice.
dad. I'm gonna tell him you said that. I'm gonna say
Okay,
that.
I was just kidding. I was trying to hurt anybody's feelings. I'm just saying I like Cardinals better than
I'm kidding,
Perfectos.
bro. It's funny. It's funny.
All right. Well, good having you on. Thanks for doing this. This was a great call. We'll get the recording up ASAP. And Frank's running the call next week. We're going to switch off every other week, which I'm excited about. And you guys keep doing what you're doing. This is a great month, record month after conference. And anything you guys need from me, let me know. You guys make it a great week, and we will talk to you again soon.
Thanks, Trey.